Let me take you back to some of the darkest times in my life, rock bottom, the point where everything felt broken mentally, physically, and spiritually. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I pulled myself out of that hole and rebuilt my life. Most people believe that hitting rock bottom means you failed, that once you're down, your best option is just to cope, or even worse, give up entirely. But rock bottom isn't the end, it's a foundation. Think of it as a brutal gift. It strips everything fake and forces you to make a decision. Do I rebuild myself or stay buried? And I chose to rebuild with nothing but grit, faith, and a decision that I wasn't done yet. Today, I can proudly say, maybe for the first time in my life, that I am mentally stronger, physically better, more spiritually grounded, and building a mission driven life. And I want to give you the exact blueprint that helped me go from broken to breakthrough. I'm going to break this down into 3 different turning points that helped me make massive changes in my life that ultimately led to this breakthrough. All right, so rock bottom messes with your mind. You feel like a failure. But from personal experience, failure isn't final unless you stop fighting. What changed for me was this belief: I don't need motivation, I need a mission, a driving force. And so turning point number 1 was I had to create an internal flip, or a mindset shift, as it is more commonly referred as. I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And I started asking, what can I do with this? I wrote down 3 things every day: what I still had, even if it was just breath in my lungs, who I wanted to become, and what pain I refused to pass on. I had begun to realize that I was in the position in life that I was in because I was identifying with my pain, and I confused my current situation with my identity. So in all honesty, to become the person I am today, I've had to hit rock bottom many times, and the next one was always worse than the previous. And the common denominator was always that I was mistaking what was happening to me for who I was. And so when we are going through rough seasons, whether you are broke, lost, depressed, or failing, it becomes easy to believe that you are those things. You might say things like, I failed, which would become, I am a failure, or I am struggling, which turns into, I am weak. This is just your brain trying to make sense of the chaos by labeling it, because labels feel safer than uncertainty, even when they are harsh. That seemingly small internal flip, it rewired me. It didn't change my circumstances overnight, but it changed me. And that changed everything. For the first time in my life, I stopped spiraling in the story of why everything was happening to me, and I started asking what it could be doing for me. That shift from victim to owner wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, but it ended up being the start of my comeback, because when you stop feeding that victim narrative, you start feeding the power that we all have within us. If you can control your mind, you can control your comeback. Your thoughts shape your actions shape your identity, and your identity shapes your reality. It all starts in your head before it ever shows up in your life. So if you're in your own rock bottom right now, ask yourself, who do I become if I do not quit? Purpose isn't some lightning bolt, it's built through pain. My life turned around when I realized I wasn't here just to heal, I was here to help. That is my mission, and that is my driving force. Which leads me to turning point number 2, and what I like to call the purpose playbook. I got crystal clear on these 3 questions. What do I know that others need? Who can I help from my scars, not just my skills? And what can I create that gives someone else hope? This is ultimately what led me to starting this YouTube channel, as an avenue to not only help me express myself, but to help others who have experienced similar challenges that I have faced in my own life. And I didn't wait to be ready. I got to work while still healing. Most people heal in silence and never leverage what they have been through. And so I decided to turn my wounds into weapons. I found purpose in pain. I realized that this thing that tried to destroy me can actually define me in the right way. Purpose is what gives pain meaning. Without purpose, pain feels like a burden, like dead weight dragging behind you, suffocating your progress, stealing your joy, and turning every step of your journey into real struggle. It almost feels pointless, like suffering for nothing. This is what drives people to quit, when pain has no destination. But if you can find a way to give that pain a purpose, you will stumble your way into change. Suddenly, it's not just about pain anymore, it's fuel. Fuel for growth, fuel for your comeback, fuel to prove yourself that what was meant to break you only woke you up. And that moment you realize that your struggle wasn't just for you, that your story, your scars, your setbacks can serve someone else, that is when you begin to tap into something truly life changing. Because now it's bigger than your ego, it's bigger than your comfort, even bigger than your success. Now your healing becomes a roadmap, your fight becomes a message, and your purpose becomes your mission. And so when you attach your comeback to lifting up others, when your why becomes helping them rise too, You create a force so powerful inside of you. That's when pain becomes power. That's when you walk through fire with your head held high, not because it doesn't hurt, but because someone else needs to see you survive it, because someone else's breakthrough is hiding inside your breakthrough. And at that point, it's no longer about you. It's about who you are called to lift up. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What if your pain is the price you paid to unlock your purpose? Success is not a feeling, it's a formula. Too many people chase a mood, a burst of motivation, a fleeting high, but feelings fade. Motivation runs dry. Discipline, structure, and systems, that's what builds lasting change. At my lowest, I didn't need a pep talk. I didn't need another podcast or motivational quote. I needed clarity, consistency, and a system I could show up to even when I felt broken, especially when I felt broken. So I stopped chasing feeling better and started chasing small wins. I asked myself, what can I control today? What's the simplest version of progress I can repeat tomorrow? And then from that, I built a system, one I could win every day with. This is turning point number 3 in what I like to call the daily system. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy, just real and repeatable. Wake up, move your body, fuel it right, lock in a non-negotiable, stack enough of those wins, and suddenly the fog will begin to lift. Your confidence comes back, not because life's easier, but because I got stronger. That is the formula. Success is the result of structure, not sparks. And once you stop relying on hype and start relying on building positive daily habits, you don't just change your day, you begin to change your life. This is the system that rewired my self-worth because I was keeping promises to myself again. The fastest way to rebuild your life, stack tiny wins daily, relentlessly, quietly, not when you feel like it, not when it's convenient, every single day, because that's how you shift momentum. One rep, one choice, one promise kept to yourself at a time. You don't need a massive overhaul overnight. You need proof that you can show up for yourself. And that proof is built in the small things. Making your bed, moving your body, drinking water, showing up when no one sees it. Big dreams aren't built on hype. They're built on boring consistency. The kind done in silence while nobody's clapping, nobody's cheering, and nobody's watching. But that's the secret. If you stay committed when it's quiet, you'll be unstoppable when it's loud. Rebuilding your life isn't about waiting for a breakthrough. It's about becoming the type of person who doesn't need one to get started. My message for you is not to wait for motivation. Design a system that makes it irrelevant. Okay, if you're at rock bottom, you need to shift your mindset from victim to mission. Find purpose in your pain and help others through it. Build a system that helps you win today, then repeat it. I know what it's like to feel lost, stuck, and broken, but you are not broken. You are just becoming. And your future is built in the dark when no one is watching. If this hits home for you, I'd love if you drop a comment below with where you are right now and what you are rebuilding. And if you're ready to go deeper, I highly recommend you check out this video where I break down why it is important to have a clear vision for your life and how to create yours. I'm rooting for you. Keep going, and we'll see you in the next video.